Hey there, gang. Welcome back to Papa's Model Workshop. I'm Papa, and this is my workshop. I got to tell you something about this video. This is like the third time I have tried to make this video. I mean, first video I had to dump because my wireless mic right here, okay, I left it in my pocket, all right? And then the second video I got, because I shoot this on my phone, and everybody in the world started texting me. Okay. I'm just a mess this morning, so bear with me. Like I said, I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed. Anyway, in the last video, what we discussed was some introductory points on getting into airbrushing if you are starting out, brand new in airbrushing. And one of the things that I mentioned was an important element in doing airbrushing is learning about your paints. It's important to know your paint types and your paint brand. And I'm kind of being a little bit redundant if you saw the last video, but I'm just going to review it quickly. And there's some folks who might be tuning in for the very first time and didn't see that video. But your three paint types are basically enamel, lacquer, and acrylic. Your acrylic paints are pretty much water-based, but there are acrylics that are called hybrid acrylics, and those acrylic paints contain a solvent. Mostly it's alcohol, and those actually, I actually like the Tamiya hybrid acrylics an awful lot. They give you a nice finish, nice shine, whereas most water-based acrylics will give you a matte finish. Okay, so this is an example of an acrylic, and you can see there's not much shine there. Okay, so can you get a shine with acrylic? Yeah, you can. This is an example. Hang on, my fingers don't work too well either. Okay, so this is what happens when you get old. You lose your mind, you lose your hands. It's a mess. That is Vallejo acrylic, and this is a water-based acrylic. Okay, and that's got a pretty nice shine to it. All right, this is an acrylic hybrid. All right, again, we've got a nice shine to that. All right, this is a Tamiya acrylic hybrid. Now, what I did to achieve a shine on both of those is the acrylic hybrid, I was able to use 2K clear. With the Vallejo, I was able to use, no, not that, their gloss varnish. All right, it's a Vallejo gloss varnish. So I used a Vallejo product with the Vallejo paint. It's a pretty good idea to stick with the products that are made for the individual paints. You can mix, okay? For example, the, here we go. The 2K clear that I used on here, all right, with Tamiya paint is Ammo by MIG. It's a 2K clear. And if you're brand new into airbrushing and so forth, you don't just use the 2K clear on its own. You have to put a hardener in there, and you have to add some thinner that is specifically made for the 2K clear. All right, and that thinner is important because it'll gum up your airbrush if you don't use the thinner. And another little sidebar about using 2K clear is this: make sure you clean your airbrush right away when you're all done using that 2K clear, because it'll gum up your airbrush something fierce. Okay, so that's just a little hint about that. Here's an example of lacquer. This is a lacquer paint. This was, hang on one second. Yeah, LP51 by Tamiya. All right, that's what this paint is. Okay, and I shot that with that same 2K clear that I just showed you. And this is enamel. Okay, and this was also shot with that same 2K clear. Of the four, okay, acrylic hybrid, lacquer, and enamel. Of those four, the enamel paints will probably give you the best shine. Okay, and this is actually the spoon that I tested on All right. And I always preach that you should test before you go straight down to your build. And that's why I have an awful lot of these spoons, okay? And I test everything on the spoons, okay? And that's important. In fact, I have a Toyota Supra that I am, just hang on a second, that I am building for my friend Jolene. And I am doing her Toyota in a gloss black base. So I tested on a spoon with a gloss black base so I could see ahead of time how this is going to look before I come right up and do it on her build. Okay, so Jolene, if you're watching, there's your color right there. All right, and that's going to be an MCW enamel also. Yeah, this is your paint right here. MCW enamel. Okay, there's the color. And it's ice blue metallic. Okay, that's going to be your color right there. Okay. So yeah, I'm a big advocate of that. Test on your spoons first. Another thing that you can do is you can test on, I keep a bunch of these paper plates. Hang on one second. Okay, these are coated in plastic, and you can test on here. Now, this is kind of nice to have because you know what? When you test on a spoon, it'll work. But if you wanted this, you know, test how your nozzle is dispersing, or if you want to test fine lines or a broader paint pattern, it's easier to do on a paper plate. So I've got a bunch of these, a bunch of spoons, and like I said, I test everything because the last thing you want to do is just blindly jump up to your build and start spraying. And if something's not right, you know, you can probably fix it, but why do you need to go through that headache if you can test first? So that's what I do. I test everything first. So that's what I would suggest. The other thing that I will tell you, and I've mentioned this in other videos, is once you start testing and so forth, don't trust that you are going to remember it, okay? Because if you're going to be in this hobby, and I'm down here in my workshop, just about any time I have some free time, and I already mentioned to you, I'm semi-retired now, I have a business and my son is taking it over, so I'm spending a lot more time down here, and I'm loving every minute of it, by the way. I was worried that if I spent all my time down here, I might get sick of it. Well, we started this experiment with my son taking over the business back in February. This is the beginning of May, and I'm not sick of being down here at all. I get up in the morning. I still get up at 6 a.m., by the way. But I get up in the morning, and honestly, I'm telling you, I can't wait to get down here. So that's how I know that this is the hobby for me. But anyway, if you really do decide that you get into this hobby and you're in your workspace or at your kitchen table, wherever it is that you do your builds, you know, any reasonable amount of time, you're going to develop these different paint formulations, and, you know, down the road, you're not going to really remember all of it. So this is what I would suggest. I got this on Amazon. It's a logbook. I've shown this before, so I'm repeating it. And you get a template to write down all of your information regarding your build. Okay, so you know, if you are doing something one day and you're thinking to yourself, gee, what color did I use on the dashboard for that Chevelle I did a year ago? Or what color did I use on the body for that Firebird that I did 6 months ago? Well, you can go back and refer to your notes. Okay. And what I did, all right, what I did is I made a bunch of copies like this. All right. I separated it from the book and made individual copies. And the reason I did that is so I could put them in a 3-ring binder. All right. So I made all the copies. I took a 3-hole punch and hang on. There you go. Okay, and I've got all my pertinent information right there. Okay, start date, completion date, the scale, but more importantly, my paint mixtures for this build. And the other thing that I can do here that's kind of nice, which I like a lot, is I can put these dividers in between each of my builds, and I can put the instructions right in there, okay? And a lot of times what I can also do is I can take my spoon test and I can put that right inside the folder. So it makes everything readily available for me as reference, because there's going to be a lot of times where you might want to duplicate a color, or maybe in the case of a pickup truck that I just did, a 66 Fleet side pickup truck I just did. And in those notes, I jotted down the fact that I used, where is it? Yeah, it's down in here. I cut out some coffee stirrers, all right? And that's how I made the bed of that truck. Okay, so I can put that information in my logbook, how much, or what length I cut these, and then I use Minwax actually to stain it. And all of that information is right in there. I even used these little polystyrene strips that you can get at the hobby store or Hobby Lobby. And I used these as the separators in between the planks. And I used Vallejo metal color. I think it was steel. I painted it first, and then I inserted this in between. And I've got all of that information written right here in my logbook. So it's a good thing to have. In addition to that, you can also get test cards by Display. Okay, this is for Pro Scale Paint. And this one is also Pro Scale Paint, Atomic Orange. And if I turn this a little bit and get it away from the glare, you can see that there's 3 different backgrounds on this test card. All right, and I'll show it to you. This is how you get it. All right, there's a whole stack of them here. All right, and I'm doing a bad job showing you this, but it's a whole stack of them here. It comes on this little ring. All right, and you get a whole bunch of them. But you have a white primered background, gray and black. So you can test your color against the different backgrounds, and you can also jot down some notes right down there. And that can also go right inside your pocket right there. Okay, so this will hold everything that you need to reference back to a particular build. So anyway, that's just what I do, just my suggestion. So I'll tell you what I also want to do. I want to show you quickly some differences of different base colors on top or below a given color, and that's over there. So just hang on 1 second and bear with me. Okay, gang, so this is what I want to show you. We discussed how undercolor will play a role in what your finished paint looks like. So here's an example of an undercolor. Now, I just touched upon this with you on Jolene's car. We're going to be doing Jolene's car in the black. All right, so here's a black spoon. I have a bunch of these spoons already prepared in black. I have a bunch of spoons that are prepared in silver, gold, bronze, and also white primer. All right, I think the primer that I used on these spoons is Mr. Hobby. But let me set this down here. Hang on 1 second. The different bases will give you different finishes, okay? So this is Turbo Dork. This is an acrylic paint, right? It's kind of like an orange color. They call it Fahrenheit, but it's like a burnt orange color. I have no idea why they named an orange color Fahrenheit, but that's what it is, okay? Now, this is the Turbo Dork Fahrenheit orange, okay, sprayed on a white spoon. By the way, if you purchase Turbo Dork paint, they actually say that you should use a black base. So here it is with a black base. That kind of looks like a burnt orange. And here it is in a white. I mean, this looks like you used two different paints, okay? Or two different colors. It's the same paint out of the same bottle, same color. Look at the difference. Black, white base, okay? It makes a difference. Here is a gold base, right? And then this is a silver base. So your base color does make quite a difference, all right? This is Tamiya lacquer, pure orange, okay? And this is that paint on a silver base, okay? Now, I already showed you this paint on a white base. This was done on a white base, okay? So see the difference, okay? Quite a difference. Your base color makes a big difference. Okay. This is on a black base. All right. Okay. White, black. Again, same paint, same color, out of the same bottle. Take a look at that, huh? All right. So these are things that you will learn, and that's why I stress testing. Test on spoons. Test on a paper plate. Test on test cards, okay? That's what I'm saying. These are great because you get three different backgrounds, all right? And then, like I said, like I just went over with you, write it down because you think, you think in the moment, yeah, I'll remember this. Trust me, down the line, you're not going to remember all of this stuff, okay? That's why, when you went over to Grandma's house for Sunday dinner and it was always great, it's because she had a recipe book. She wrote things down. So it's not any different with us. Grandma's stuff tasted much better than our stuff, okay? So I think that's going to do it for now. And I guess I will see you in the next video. If you want a shop card, please, here, I'm going to show you. There you go. There's my email address right there if you want a shop card. And I have to thank you folks for subscribing. I'm still a relatively small channel. Now, this is the beginning of May 2025. I only started this channel last September, so this channel's only about 8 months old at this particular point. And I've got a little over 200 subscribers. And a lot of that has come just in the last couple of weeks. NNL East was only about, 2 weeks ago, I guess. And before NNL East, I was under 150. Well, I'm well over 200 right now. So I've gotten a lot of subscribers just in the last 2 weeks. So the channel is growing, and I want to thank all of you. I really appreciate it. When I first started this channel, I didn't know if I was going to even get more than 2 or 3 subscribers, and I wasn't even sure if I was going to get that. So thank you so much for subscribing. And if this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and that way you will be notified every time I do an upload. I generally do an upload once a week. So you'll be notified if you hit that little bell, and leave a comment. That really helps with the channel as well. Okay, let me know you like me, you're indifferent about me, you hate me. Leave me a comment. We're a free speech channel, so it's okay to disagree with me or tell me you don't like me. That's all right. Whatever. Okay. But I want to thank you all for subscribing. It really does warms my heart, and it's I'm having a blast doing this. I got to be honest with you. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to wrap this up for now, and we'll see you in the very next video. Okay, have a great day.